Hey everybody. Um, I'm this girl, that girl Goddess. This is Dimensions of Christ. Um, I'm gonna talk about marriage, dealing with conflict. When you're dealing with conflict in your marriage, if it deals with someone outside of your marriage and your spouse, and I'm not talking about someone that's flirting with your spouse or you found out they cheated. I'm just talking about people in general. And that's closely related or close friends, grew up with them, people like that. Okay? Learn not to say too much about their family. I know a lot of people like to go off and say, well, they just this and they do that and they're a dope head and they are drunk and they are alcoholic and they um, work in the streets and they a 304 and they get into they a bum, they a liar and this and this. Learn not to say those things. Okay? Try not to build an image for your spouse of what you think about your people a lot of times. See, me, I just personally just say I don't deal with people's family. I don't want to be bothered. They did this. I don't want to be bothered. No. Because their family can be doing all kind of stuff. The biggest 304s, cheaters in their family, big liars. But sometimes people don't want to hear the truth. They have to try to create this perfect image. I don't create them perfect images for anybody connected to me. I just tell them, people is drama and they do too much. I don't deal with relatives like that. I've never been one who go off to a lot of gatherings. For me, I'd rather have those special moments at home with my significant other, my children. Yeah, I take them over to a relative's house and turn around and go home or go to work. Look, I'm just not for it. I throw cookouts and stuff, but there's never drama at my house. Now, when certain relatives come over, it was drama. I barred them away. I'm not doing that. Okay? Because my home is my sanctuary. It's my peace. If I disturb you or I know your relatives don't like me, I'm not coming. Why? Because I don't want to disturb nobody. Peace. I don't want to sit in a hostile environment. I'd rather just, and I tell the spouse, some things you're better at dealing with. Okay? You're just the best person to deal with it. I'm not there. I don't want to be there. It's just not for me. I believe in peace and setting boundaries. If I'm a type of person, you can be real, went to church, and that's your thing. And your spouse family may not be into it. Like, I got one side of the family, not only are they atheists, they devil worshippers. I'm not going to take a spouse that believe in God on their territory. Because I know how they are. And these are my peeps. Okay? I got peeps that sit right in front of your man and play in their stuff. Lift their legs straight up in the air with a dress on, pull the dress up above their waist, and do some of the most unbelievable stuff. I don't carry anybody I care about or building with around relatives. I have one relative, she drink one beer, she gonna take off all her clothes. She'll run around the room trying to poop on people. But let me explain something to you. When I know people are not sane or do the most outrageous, despicable, or disgusting stuff, I don't take people there. And I tell my spouse, you're gonna have to respect some of my boundaries. If I have a relative that's a habitual liar and love to gossip, I'm just not taking you there. Wanna know why? They keep too much going. Okay? That's it. Point blank period. They keep too much going. And that's just a boundary I set. I don't sit around them. You will never know anything about, they will never know anything about my significant other when I go around. Especially if I know they're a witch. Practice witchcraft, envious, whole lot of conflict. I just don't. Dolphins, they the fastest one to want to try to offer your significant other favors on an intimate level for financial gain. Want to drop secrets. I just tell my spouse, what I did in my past is not your business if it ain't affecting you. I don't want to go back that road. I don't want to dwell on negativity. I closed that chapter of my life. I don't have no STDs, nothing incurable. I just tell them the truth. It's just something I just rather not visit. For what? Okay? Some people like to hear you tell them stuff, you confide them, and then they throw it in your face. As soon as they get mad, here it comes. And it has happened. And since that day, I don't have nothing to say. And then still ain't their business. And when they got their throwing it in my face, I try and say, so, ain't your business. You find out a little something, you want to use it, quote, try to make me feel better. I don't feel bad about nothing. I don't feel bad about nothing I did in my life before you. That's a journey that I went on, and it's between me and God. If you know about it and you can't handle it, too bad. Okay? That's just how I feel about things. Everybody can set their boundaries and rules based upon how they feel about things. That's just not a place, because I tell people, it's hitting below the belt when you talk to people about things of their past or bring up stuff. I can't tell my spouse why he did something 10 years ago or 5 years ago before we was a couple. I can't tell him and then try to jump on the bandwagon and this, and this. That's not my place. I really don't care. And I remember one time I turned around and said something, and he said, one of his baby mamas, I turned around and said, well, y'all made the baby, but it wasn't like y'all was in love with each other. Y'all was just young and, experimenting, and you got pregnant. And he looked at me, he was like, yeah, that is true. But if I would have said that years ago after he had made the baby, he could have said, well, no, we was. But when you grow 2 or 3 years, you wasn't in love. High school, college days, pregnancies, most of the time you was not in love. Okay? And things happen. That don't have nothing to do with me. I love him. I love what's part of him. Okay? I don't interact with baby mamas. If he need to see them or they come by, drop the kids, we're not friends. Not because I don't have nothing against them. I treat them sweet as pie. But I don't want to, because a lot of people, when they have children with somebody, they go way too far. I just keep that door closed. It'd be cool if you feel that she should come over for the babies. Let's say the baby's having a little graduation. She fine. You can go over there. If he invite me, I'll go. But I'm one of these people who stay out of stuff. It's not necessary that I be there, because a lot of times women want to be where their spouse, with their ex or their baby mamas, because they don't trust them. I have to put my trust in God. If he asks me, okay. If he don't, I understand. Okay? And I'm just going to leave it right there. I just tell people when they can get to saying, well, no, you shouldn't. I done seen wives, significant others, current girlfriends go over to these people's houses, and the next day that person will go over there and get involved with them. Okay? Right before the event came by, they told one of their relatives, they stopped by, they got to talking, something happened. Some people don't have self-control. And then something, they can go over there, That baby mama gonna lie. People around her friends you think you bonding with, some of his friends, they lie. I don't go around crowds where it's gonna cause a disturbance in certain relationships that has to go on. Like they have to co-parent. When you get through sitting around getting mad, you going off, and they making it seem a certain way, and they teaming up against you, and the family really don't want you with them, you'll be in a whole lot of mess. And I just tell people, I'm just gonna stay right here. What happened. What God revealed, I'll deal with it from that point. But I'm not gonna babysit a grown adult. It's not gonna happen. Okay? If somebody asks me about my spouse, I say my spouse is jealous. He don't care. He's gonna watch everything. That's him. He drive his own self crazy. I don't deal with it. Because I know me. I don't have to set boundaries like that, because when I made my commitment to be true and faithful, that's what I am. I don't need all of that. I ain't got to rekindle or get with something. Because see, some people try to get back, people try to prove they meant something to. Okay? They can go over there and then left over their friend's house and they was drinking or whatever they was doing, and they come back around them just to find out some information, and they know when they do drunk, they can touch this button or that button and open up doors. All I'm gonna do is tell my spouse about keeping some doors closed, limit the opening space of some doors, because it's not worth it. If you're planning to go forward and you want to operate as an adult and not a little teenager or a child, you're going to close some doors. Okay? You will invite your spouse or significant other in to a certain point. But you can't be married and not trust people. Trust your spouse. And you know how far they can go. Don't blame nobody else. Some people know that their spouse is a 3-0. But yet and still, they'll try to find a reason to blame this person. I tell people, ain't nobody got somebody to come over somewhere or meet them somewhere to go behind doors and somehow their clothes come off and then this interaction happened. All of those are premeditated. They did it on purpose. And they wasn't concerning themselves about you. It was about meeting what they want to meet. Their lusts, their passions, their lack of self-control. Some people get their ego stroked that way. I'm wanted. Everybody want me. Especially if you argue and you turn around and say, well, you can go move on. Some people got to prove that they worthy. And they childish, immature in their actions. They make bad decisions. And it's a whole lot of mess. I'm just telling you, the Bible tells us bad company corrupts good manner. When you hang around a bunch of witches and this and that, their whole conversation, they be sowing seeds and you be walking in agreement with it, because you be like, yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Some conversations don't even need to be discussed when you're married. They be like, child, they weren't paying no bills, and then I say no money, no honey. And they don't even be married at the time. They just dropping seeds to see if they can get a door open. Oh, your last girl came by here. I seen such that she was looking good. She asked about you. I told them that, you done moved on. But they don't say that you married. Or even if they do, you be like, why is that conversation? I'm going to see, and that's the meeting of devils. And then first thing you think about, oh, they say they was looking good. Let me go back. I need to see them. Opening doors. Set boundaries. Don't hang around a bunch of people, if you're a Christian, that don't have no Christian values. No morals. You can't invite your single friends to be around them, your significant other. You be like, yeah, we was all hanging out together. Well, if it's a couple's event, look, I tell people, I I ain't that keen on meeting up at the bar with a bunch of people that's horny, desperate, and lonely, and drunk to be around me and my significant others. Because all night they're going to be hitting on me. I'm really just not keen up on all of that. I don't even recommend it for somebody that's married. I was like, you really don't have no reason to be in a bar. You can listen to music anywhere. But when you get into those areas, you have demons running around the room, jumping from person to person, lust demons, addiction demons. You have confusion and chaos and murders demons, hate demons, jealousy, and you dealing with all kind of stuff. And they looking for a night, because the biggest portal and the strongest portal that you can open up to demonic activity is through intimacy, drinking, and drugs. Those are the biggest doors. And then whether you recognize it or not, they working. They probably moving 1,000-fold against you. You're not even connected to everything they say they're connected to. I know when my husband want to get some of my attention, he'll say stuff that's really off to the left just to get my attention. Say something so foul. And I'm like, what the hell you just say? And I'm like, really? Okay. And then he'll start laughing. I was just trying to see how you was going to react. But other people stand around and be saying stuff like, ooh, you heard what the hell he just said? Ooh. And I have to talk to him like, be careful with the stuff that come out your mouth. Put a watch before your mouth. Ask God to put a watch before your mouth. Because people, you like attention, they like crap. Then I look stupid. Anyway, I ain't say this, and this. You may not think you did, but this is how everybody else gonna say it. And I'm not that I value their opinions, but keeping down confusion. You get online and say, I'm drunk. He'll take videos of you. And I look at him. That's for everybody to say, well, he was out of his mind because he was drunk. He vulnerable. We can get him his way. And I'd be like, why do you advertise stuff like that? Why do you think that's cute? You made me upset. I was depressed. But we didn't go past all of that. Okay. And I know these are doors. People say, well, let's reopen these doors. I just look at people. Everything in my life is in God's hand. I listen to God's direction and I keep going. He told me to make this video, I'm making a video. Watch what come out of your mouth. Because words can live in a person. You can say it to them, they're 5 years old, and 20 years later, they still trigger. Watch what you do. Who you hang around. Bad company corrupts good manner. And even if you overcome a lot of this stuff, they can take you on a whirlwind. They can encourage you to stay, do what's right by your significant other, spouse, or whatever. You can hang around people, they just gamblers. And in a moment, I tell them, don't take no more than this amount in the street. Are you a grown man? You can handle your money? You don't know this person's weakness. Don't take this. And then that's the night you go out there, you take it anyway, you get robbed. You didn't do nothing wrong, you just got robbed. You took this money out here this day, you was gambling, and you lost that game. You was tempted. You got hungry. Went and bought this, and that, forgot what you ordered, and just swiped your card. The next day, you was like, dang, I ordered all that. Sometimes you have to set boundaries when you hang out in the street not to take so much. But today's video is about setting boundaries, abstaining from the appearance of evil, or what you blowing out your mouth, hanging around bad company. Well, marriage is a holy covenant. To keep it, you really have to go to extremes. And it's really not extreme. set these boundaries so the enemy won't come in as a flood. Fighting fair. You can't say any and everything. And I'm going to call this video The Rules of Marriage. Fighting fair. You know, the rules of marriage. How to sustain and keep your marriage or significant other relationships. But I'm in this right here. I'm that girl Goddess. Like, share, and subscribe. Bye.